This is an iHeart podcast.
Have some of these raids gone too far?
No, I think they haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the judges, by the liberal judges that were put in by Biden and by Obama.
You're okay with those tactics?
Yeah, because you have to get the people out. You know, you have to look at the people. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are people that were thrown out of their countries because they were, criminal.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good morning. It's nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update, and we are live in Jerusalem right now. It is actually Tuesday. Well, where we're recording this with my producer, it is Monday. 8 hours ahead of where he is right now, and I got to tell you, trying to figure out the times to do these connections the U.S. has been comical. This show is going to have a little bit different feel than normal, as we are going to be in Israel all week, and we're going to start with one of the incredible stories that is on the front page of the Jerusalem Post. But first, right now, all of us, our help is needed with the people in Israel. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has supported and will continue to support the people of Israel with life-saving security essentials. And your gift today will help save lives by providing bomb shelters, armored security vehicles, ambulances, firefighting equipment, flak jackets, and bulletproof vests, and so much more. Give a gift to bless Israel and her people by visiting right now ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. The psychological torture that is taking place on the Israeli people by Hamas. The headline is simple. The 3 partial remains that Hamas returned to Israel on Friday night do not belong to any of the hostages still in Gaza. DNA tests conducted at the Greenberg Institute of Forensic Medicine have concluded late on Friday the IDF was preparing for the return of the partial remains of 3 slain Gaza hostages. The Red Cross, acting as intermediaries, handed over the remains to the IDF troops overnight. But Hamas had not specified whose remains it was handing over. Hamas said in a statement on Saturday that it had initially offered 3 samples from unidentified bodies to Israeli authorities for, quote, testing. In order to not impede the handover of the bodies, we offered to deliver 3 samples from a number of unidentified corpses. Hamas stated on Telegram, saying, quote, Israel refused to accept the sample and demanded to receive the bodies for examination, and we handed them over to preempt the enemy's claims. Again, Hamas still referring to Israel as their enemy. A statement from the International Committee of the Red Cross said that the organization, acting as a neutral intermediary, assisted this evening at the request and with the approval of both parties in returning the remains of 3 bodies to Israeli authorities. The identification process is the responsibility of the relevant authorities in Israel and will be carried out by them. The reality is these bodies did not belong to any of the hostages. And this goes back to what I have been witnessing since I've been in Israel. This has been an incredible trip, as I have for the very first time on my pilgrimage been able to see where Jesus walked, see where he carried the cross for his own death, and to see exactly what life is like in Israel. There are a couple things that I want to be clear about. Number one, on this trip, it has been a spiritual journey for me. I will never shy away from talking about that. I will also tell you that if you're thinking about coming to Israel, now is the time to do it. It has been incredibly safe, especially in Jerusalem. And I can tell you that there are so many people that want to come to Israel, and they haven't felt like it was the right time. After being here, I would feel incredibly safe bringing my entire family. This ceasefire and the leadership of Donald Trump to get this peace in the Middle East and the Abraham Accords is truly historic, but it's also very real. But there's also another aspect of this trip that I think is as important to tell you about, and that is witnessing the torture. Just like the story I told you about Hamas and the partial remains sent to Hamas that they said were the hostages were actually not at all. What we are witnessing right now is truly psychological warfare. It's psychological warfare by a terrorist organization that still refers to Israel as the enemy in their own statement on Telegram today. What we're also witnessing is something else that's extremely concerning, and part of the reason why I decided to take this trip to Israel. And that is the rise of anti-Semitism on the right in America. I had the privilege this evening of speaking with and hearing the story of the mother of one of the hostages that was just returned to Israel. You may remember the video that went viral of a young lady on the back of a motorcycle, sandwiched between two men, holding her hand out, begging for help from her boyfriend. You may remember that he moved that camera to the right, and you could see the boyfriend pleading and wanting to grab his girlfriend. They were taken hostage and they were separated. That story I was able to film tonight of a man by the name of Mr. Orr. The mother of the hostage told the story of her son, of how she found out about it when he was taken, and how he was kept underground without being able to see the sun literally for years. That story I have put up on social media so that you can hear it. I have put it up on my Facebook account, the video. And I hope that every one of you will go look at it on Facebook so that you can hear that story. But what you learn when you are here and you talk to the hostage victims and their families is that their stories have not been told by the media. Their torture has not been told by the media. And in fact, what we've seen by the media is for them to imply on every opportunity they get that Israel is somehow evil, that they are committing genocide, that they are the ones that are hurting innocent people, which is not the case at all. I go back to this partial remains that were sent by Hamas, knowing that it was not actually the hostages' bodies. This is torturing the families. They know this is psychological warfare. We also know that because of the leadership of President Trump, we got to the point where all living hostages were given back. And there is incredible gratitude in Israel right now for the President of the United States of America and him accomplishing something very quickly that the prior administration couldn't do or didn't do on purpose. You can decide. Which brings me to the other point, and it's something I'm going to be focusing on this show the next several days. There is definitely a rise in anti-Semitism in America in the right now. It is being led by names that I'm sure you know about. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuente, and others who have decided that Israel is not important as an ally of the United States of America. It is also giving incredible help to the terrorist group Hamas. And there is many that are concerned in Israel about this happening in America. In fact, it's been the number one thing I've been asked about as I've been in Israel, is what is happening with Republicans and conservatives. There was a warning on the top page of the Jerusalem Post yesterday. The headline read, "A growing cancer. Senator Cruz warns of anti-Semitism spike on the U.S. right." The senator says issue is accelerated by online normalization of fringe figures. He also said the church is asleep. I couldn't agree more with that. And he called on Christian leaders to act. Senator Cruz delivering a dramatic warning that anti-Semitism is spreading on parts of the America's right and urged conservatives, pastors, and lay leaders to draw red lines and confront it head on. After being in Israel, I couldn't agree with this more than what I've witnessed since being here. And the danger is very high. The danger, as President Trump has put it, and Senator Cruz has put it, is that you now have hardcore conservatives that are turning a younger generation to be anti-Semitic. There's real anti-Semitism on the right now. And there are a lot of conservatives that are now believing that it's somehow okay to say to Israel, you're not our ally. I also want to talk about national security issues, and it's something we'll focus on tomorrow. And that is just how important Israel is when it comes to fighting ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Islamic extremism in the Middle East, and how much intelligence they give to America that allows us to stay safe. That is going to be part of what we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about what I see on the ground as I am going to visit the site of the terrorist attack where that festival was. I'm going to meet with more families tomorrow that loved ones were killed and some that were able to come home, and the leaders that are having to deal with the fallout of the war that has happened for far too long. So we're going to take a moment this week to talk about Israel and the politics of it. So what I'll tell you is this. Go on Facebook and watch the video of the mother tell the story of her son who was just returned. And listen to that story and tell me, why on earth Would we not stand with these people that were attacked in a horrific way? The worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Listen to her words, and we'll talk more about anti-Semitism on the right as well. Finally, what I'll tell you is this. The people of Israel, they are so thankful for Donald Trump becoming president yet again. They love that we have a president that is standing with them and also understands there's a difference between right and wrong and good and evil, that there is clarity in the world now of where America stands with Israel. And it's part of the conversation I'm happy to be having while I'm here in Jerusalem. I'll see you back here tomorrow for more from Israel.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast.